The day my fiancée asked for a break was supposed to be one of the happiest days of my life. I still remember the smell of fresh coffee filling our apartment that Saturday morning. Sunlight streamed through the kitchen windows while Emily sat across from me at the table, stirring her mug without taking a single sip. Something felt off. For nearly 6 years, I had known every version of Emily. I knew how she smiled when she was excited. I knew how she crossed her arms when she was angry. And I knew exactly how she looked when she was hiding something. That morning, she could not meet my eyes. "Jake," she finally said. The moment she spoke my name, my stomach tightened. "Yeah?" She took a deep breath. "I need to talk to you about something." Those words rarely lead anywhere good. I forced a smile. "Okay." She stared into her coffee. Then she said the sentence that shattered everything. "I think we should take a break." For a second, I thought I had heard her wrong. "A break?" She nodded slowly. "Just for a little while." I laughed nervously. "We are getting married in 4 months. I know. We already paid deposits. I know. Our family's already booked flights. I know." Every answer came out rehearsed. Almost robotic. As if she had practiced this conversation 100 times before sitting down with me. I leaned forward. "Then why are we talking about a break?" She hesitated. Then she finally looked at me. And I wished she had not. Because what I saw was not confusion. It was not fear. It was certainty. The decision had already been made. My ex came back. The room suddenly felt smaller. I blinked. "What?" "Ryan contacted me a few weeks ago." Ryan. The ex-boyfriend she had spent years convincing me meant nothing. The ex she claimed she never wanted to see again. The ex who had broken her heart. The ex she swore was ancient history. My pulse started pounding. "And?" She swallowed. "And I have been talking to him." I stared at her. Trying to understand what was happening. Trying to convince myself there was some reasonable explanation. There was not. She looked away. "I still have feelings for him." The words hit harder than any punch. For 6 years, I had built my life around this woman. I had supported her through job losses, helped her pay off debt, moved cities for her career, stood beside her through family emergencies, planned a future, bought a ring, booked a wedding, built a life. And now she was telling me she still loved someone else. My voice sounded distant. "So what exactly are you saying?" She inhaled slowly. "I need time to figure things out." I laughed. A harsh, bitter laugh. "Figure out what?" "Whether what I feel for Ryan is real." I stared at her. Completely speechless. Then came the sentence that changed everything. The sentence I would never forget. "Ryan wants to try again." I could feel my jaw tightening. And I think I owe it to myself to see where it goes. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. The silence stretched across the kitchen. Then she delivered the final blow. "If it does not work out, I will come back." I honestly thought she was joking. I waited for the punchline. It never came. She was serious. Completely serious. My fiancée, the woman I was supposed to marry, was asking me to sit on a shelf while she tested a relationship with another man. And if he disappointed her? If he was not what she imagined? If things fell apart? Then she would graciously return and continue our wedding plans. As if I were some backup option. Some emergency exit. Some safety net. I looked at her and realized something terrifying. She genuinely believed this was reasonable. She genuinely expected me to agree. "Come back?" She nodded. "I just need clarity." I laughed again. This time louder. "Clarity? Jake, please do not make this harder than it needs to be." Harder than it needs to be. I could not believe what I was hearing. I stood up. Slowly. Calmly. Because the angrier I became, the calmer my voice got. "You want to date another man. It is not like that. It literally is. You know what I mean." "No. Actually, I do not." She sighed dramatically. As if I were the difficult one. "I just need closure." I shook my head. "No." "What?" "No." Her eyebrows furrowed. "No, what?" "No, break." She blinked. "What do you mean?" I looked directly into her eyes. "We are done." For the first time all morning, she looked shocked. "What? We are done?" "Jake?" "That is not what I said." "That is exactly what you said." "No. I said I needed time." "You said you wanted to date another man." Her face tightened. "You are twisting my words." "No. I am hearing them perfectly." She stood up too. Now looking frustrated. "You are overreacting." I almost laughed. Overreacting. My fiancée wanted to sleep with her ex, and somehow I was the unreasonable one. "I think you should leave." Her expression changed instantly. "What?" "You heard me. Jake. Go." She stared at me. Still expecting me to change my mind. Still expecting me to beg. Still expecting me to fight for her. But something inside me had already broken. Not shattered. Not exploded. Broken quietly. Permanently. The moment she treated me like an option, she stopped being the woman I wanted to marry. And for the first time since I had known her, I felt absolutely nothing. No desperation. No panic. No pleading. Just clarity. Pure clarity. I walked to the bedroom, opened the closet, grabbed one of her suitcases, and placed it in front of her. The look on her face was priceless. Because that is when she finally realized something. I was not waiting around. I was not competing. And I certainly was not going to be her backup plan. Emily stared at the suitcase like it had personally insulted her. For a few seconds, she did not move. Then she looked up at me with wide eyes. You are seriously kicking me out? I stayed calm. You asked for a break. That does not mean you get to throw me out like trash. I almost smiled. Not because anything was funny, but because the hypocrisy was so sharp, it was almost impressive. You asked me to wait while you dated your ex. That is not fair. No, Emily. What is not fair is you sitting in our kitchen, 4 months before our wedding, telling me you want to test another man and come back if he disappoints you. Her face flushed. You make it sound disgusting. Because it is. She crossed her arms. I thought you loved me. That one almost got me. Almost. For years, that sentence would have made me fold instantly. If Emily cried, I apologized. If Emily got upset, I fixed it. If Emily pulled away, I chased. But not that morning. Not after hearing her say she wanted to keep me as a backup plan. I did love you, I said quietly. That is why this hurts. Her expression softened. For 1 second, I thought maybe she finally understood. Then she said, then, why are you giving up so easily? And just like that, any softness in me disappeared. Giving up? My voice was low. You walked into this apartment and asked permission to date another man. Do not you dare call me the one giving up. She looked away. Ryan understands me in a way you do not. There it was. The knife twist. I nodded slowly. Then Gobi understood. Her mouth opened, then closed again. She had expected begging. She had prepared for tears. She had probably imagined me pacing the apartment, asking how I could change. Asking what Ryan had that I did not. But I was not going to audition for a role I had already earned. I was not going to compete against a ghost from her past. And I definitely was not going to stand there while she treated loyalty like an inconvenience. She grabbed the suitcase handle. Fine. I stepped aside. She walked into our bedroom. For 20 minutes, I listened to drawers opening and closing. Every sound landed like a small funeral. The closet door sliding. Her perfume bottles clinking together. The zipper of the suitcase. The soft scrape of hangers. I stood in the living room, staring at the framed engagement photo on the wall. It had been taken at a vineyard outside Napa. Emily was smiling with both arms around my neck. I looked happy. Truly happy. The kind of happy a man has when he thinks his future is secure. I barely recognized myself. When Emily came back out, the suitcase was full. She had changed clothes. That hurt more than I expected. She had put on the cream sweater I bought her for our anniversary. The one she once called her favorite. Now she was wearing it to leave me for another man. She stopped by the door. I will stay with my sister for a few days. I nodded. Okay. She waited. I said nothing. Her voice softened. Jake, I do not want this to be the end. I looked at her. Then you should not have ended it. Tears filled her eyes. But they did not move me. Because I could tell they were not tears of regret. They were tears of inconvenience. She was not grieving the damage she caused. She was upset that I was not making it easier for her. Can we talk in a few days? She asked. No. Jake. No. Please do not be cruel. I opened the door. I am not being cruel. I am being clear. She stood there for another second. Then she whispered, you might regret this. I looked directly at her. No, Emily, I think you will. And then she left. The door clicked shut behind her. That sound was small, almost gentle, but somehow, it echoed through the whole apartment. I stood there for a long time. Not moving. Not crying. Not breathing right. Then I turned around and looked at the place we had built together. Her coffee mug was still on the kitchen table, half full. Lipstick stain on the rim. Her wedding planning notebook sat beside it, open to a page titled, Final Guest List. I picked it up. There were names from my family, names from her family, friends, coworkers, people who had already bought dresses, booked hotel rooms, and requested time off. 4 months. In 4 months, I was supposed to stand in front of all of them and promise forever to a woman who had just asked to borrow her freedom. I closed the notebook. Then I made the first decision. I called the wedding venue. The woman who answered sounded cheerful. Good morning, Rosewood Estate Events. How can I help you? I looked at the engagement photo on the wall. This is Jake Miller. I need to cancel a wedding. There was a pause. Oh. I am sorry to hear that. May I ask the date? September 18th. Another pause. Mr. Miller, according to the contract, the second deposit becomes non-refundable next week. I know. Would you like to reschedule instead? I looked at Emily's coffee mug. No. Cancel it. She walked me through the process. There were forms, fees, signatures. I did not care. Then I called the photographer, the florist, The caterer. The band. The transportation company. Every call felt like pulling a nail out of my own chest. But with every cancellation, I felt something else too. Control. For the first time that morning, I was not reacting. I was choosing. By noon, half the wedding was gone. By 2, almost everything was gone. By 4, I had opened a new bank account and moved every dollar that was mine out of the shared savings. Not hers. Not anything she had contributed. Only mine. The money I had saved for the honeymoon. The money I had saved for the down payment on the house she wanted. The money I had been putting aside for our future. Because there was no our future anymore. At 6:30, Emily texted me. "Can we please talk?" I stared at the message. Then another came. "I did not think you would react like this." Then another. "You are scaring me." That one made me laugh. I was scaring her? Not Ryan. Not the man trying to crawl back into her life while she was engaged. Not her own decision to risk 6 years for a fantasy. Me. The man who refused to sit quietly in the corner while she humiliated him. I typed one sentence. "There is nothing left to talk about." Then I blocked her. For the first time in 6 years, my phone went silent. And the silence nearly destroyed me. People think walking away feels powerful. Sometimes it does. But at first, it feels like withdrawal. That night I did not sleep. I sat on the couch until sunrise, staring at nothing. Around 3 in the morning, I walked into the bedroom and saw the empty space where her things had been. That was when it finally hit me. She was gone. Not on a work trip. Not visiting her sister. Not angry after a fight. Gone. And the worst part was, I still loved her. Love does not disappear just because someone betrays you. That is what makes betrayal so cruel. Your mind understands the truth before your heart catches up. My mind knew Emily had disrespected me beyond repair. But my heart still remembered Sunday mornings. Road trips. Inside jokes. The way she used to fall asleep with her hand on my chest. The night I proposed. The way she cried when she said yes. I hated that I remembered all of it. I hated that part of me wanted her to knock on the door and say she had made a terrible mistake. But every time that weak part of me appeared, I forced myself to remember the kitchen table, her coffee, her calm voice. "If it does not work out, I will come back." That sentence saved me. Every time I almost broke, I repeated it. "If it does not work out, I will come back." By morning, the sadness had turned into something colder. I took the engagement photo off the wall. I did not smash it. I did not throw it across the room. I just placed it inside a cardboard box with the wedding notebook, the invitations, and the little wooden sign that said, "Welcome to the wedding of Jake and Emily." Then I taped the box shut. At 9:15, my phone rang from an unknown number. I knew it was her. I let it ring. At 9:17, my mother called. That one surprised me. I answered. "Hey, Mom." Her voice was tight. "Jake, what is going on?" I closed my eyes. "Good morning to you too." Emily called me crying. Of course she did. Did she tell you why? She said you threw her out and canceled the wedding. Did she tell you why? There was a pause. She said you two had a disagreement. I laughed once. A disagreement. Jake. Mom. She asked for a break so she could date Ryan. Silence. Then my mother sighed. Not gasped. Not shouted. Sighed. Like I had just told her something inconvenient. She said she was confused. My stomach dropped. You knew? No, I did not know exactly. Exactly? She called me a few days ago and said she was having doubts. I gripped the phone tighter. And you did not tell me? She asked me not to. I stood very still. My mother continued. She said Ryan had reached out and old feelings were coming up. I told her not to make any rash decisions. You told her not to make rash decisions? I told her marriage is serious. Did you tell her not to cheat on your son? Jake. Do not use that word. What word? Cheat? You were not married yet. I actually pulled the phone away from my ear and looked at it. As if the device had malfunctioned. Then I put it back. Mom. We were engaged. I know. We were living together. I know. We were planning a wedding. I know, honey, but sometimes people need clarity before marriage. There it was again. Clarity. That beautiful little word people use when they want permission to be selfish. I felt something inside me close. Mom. I need you to listen carefully. Okay. The wedding is canceled. The relationship is over. I am not discussing this with you, Emily, or anyone else. Jake, do not be stubborn. Goodbye, Mom. Wait. I hung up. 10 seconds later, my father called. I did not answer. Then my sister. Then Emily's mother. Then Emily's father. By noon, my phone looked like an emergency alert system. Texts came in from every direction. Do not make a permanent decision while you are angry. Emily loves you. You two are perfect together. She just needs time. Real love forgives. Be the bigger person. The bigger person. I had always hated that phrase. Because it usually meant, swallow the disrespect. So everyone else can stay comfortable. By evening, I was done. I opened my laptop and wrote one email. Not emotional, not dramatic. Just clear. To our families, friends, and invited guests. Emily and I will no longer be getting married. The wedding, scheduled for September 18th, has been cancelled. I apologize for any inconvenience this causes with travel, lodging, or scheduling. I appreciate your understanding and ask that you respect my privacy. Jake. I stared at it for a long time. Then, I clicked send. Within minutes, my phone exploded again. This time, the messages were not confused. They were furious. Emily called from another unknown number. Then another. Then her sister texted. How could you humiliate her like that? I typed back. She humiliated herself. Then I blocked her too. The next day, I changed the locks. The landlord did not ask questions. He just looked at me, saw my face, and said, "Bad breakup?" I said, "Something like that." He nodded. My second wife left me for her dentist. For the first time in 2 days, I almost smiled. Sorry. He shrugged. Do not be. Dentist got arrested for fraud 6 months later. I actually laughed. It felt strange, like using a muscle I had forgotten existed. That afternoon, I packed the rest of Emily's belongings. Not angrily. Carefully. I folded her clothes. Wrapped her framed photos. Packed her books. Even the little ceramic rabbit she bought at a flea market in Oregon. I did not keep anything as revenge. I did not destroy anything. I wanted no evidence of her left in my home. By 5, there were 6 boxes by the door. I texted her from an email account because her number was blocked. Your belongings will be available for pickup Saturday from 10 to noon. I will not be present. My friend Mark will let you in. Anything not collected will be delivered to your parents' house. She replied within 2 minutes. Jake, please, we need to talk. I did not answer. Then she wrote. I went to Ryan's. Are you happy now? I stared at that sentence for a long time. It was amazing. Even now, she wanted me to feel responsible. As if I had pushed her into his arms by refusing to wait. As if her suitcase had magically rolled there by itself. I closed the laptop. Saturday came. I left before 9 and gave Mark the key. Mark had been my best friend since college. He was the kind of friend who did not say much unless it mattered. When I told him what happened, he did not give me some long speech. He just said, "Good. Let her go." That was all. Good. Let her go. At 12:30, he called me. She is gone. Everything okay? He paused. She cried a lot. I leaned against my car. Okay. She asked where you were. What did you say? I said you had plans. I did not. I had spent 2 hours walking aimlessly through a hardware store because I did not know where else to go. Mark continued. Ryan came with her. My whole body went still. He what? Yeah. I closed my eyes. Did he come inside? Unfortunately. What happened? Mark exhaled. He acted like he owned the place. Something hot moved through my chest. What does that mean? He kept saying stuff like, "Man, Jake took this really hard," and, "I hope he gets help." I gripped the phone. Mark's voice sharpened. Do not worry. I told him the only person who needed help was a grown man picking up another man's fiancée's underwear. Despite everything, I laughed. A real laugh this time. Thank you. Anytime. Then Mark got quiet. She looked bad, man. I did not answer. Not physically. Just shocked. Like she thought you would show up. She thought wrong. Yeah. After we hung up, I sat in my car for nearly 20 minutes. Ryan had gone into my apartment. Ryan had stood in the home I paid for. Ryan had touched boxes filled with the life Emily and I had built. And for a moment, rage almost swallowed me. But then I remembered something. He had not taken my life. He had taken a woman who was willing to leave. That was not theft. That was trash collection. The next few weeks became a strange blur. I went to work. I came home. I ate when I remembered. I slept badly. Sometimes I woke up reaching for Emily before I remembered. Those mornings were the worst. But slowly, almost invisibly, the apartment changed. I bought new sheets, new towels, a new couch. Not because I needed one. Because I could not stand sitting where we used to sit together. I painted the bedroom, gray instead of the pale blue she had chosen. I moved the furniture. I took down the curtains she loved. Each change felt small. But together, they made the apartment mine. Not ours. Mine. At work, I threw myself into everything. I was a project manager at a commercial construction firm. And for years I had been good. Reliable. Steady. The kind of employee people trusted but did not always notice. That changed after Emily left. Pain gave me focus. Instead of going home early to plan wedding details, I stayed late and reviewed bids. Instead of spending weekends touring venues or tasting cakes, I built client proposals. Instead of pouring energy into a woman who wanted another man, I poured it into myself. Within 2 months, I landed the biggest contract our department had seen all year. A downtown hotel renovation worth millions. My boss, Daniel Whitaker, Called me into his office after the client signed. He was in his late 50s, sharp-eyed, old school, and brutally honest. He closed the door and looked at me. Whatever happened to you? It made you dangerous. I did not know what to say. He pointed at the chair. Sit. I sat. He slid the contract folder across the desk. You carried this. It was a team effort. Do not do that fake humble thing. It annoys me. I almost smiled. He leaned back. You want to move up? I looked at him. Yes. Good. Because I need someone hungry. Hungry. That was one word for it. He offered me a senior position overseeing high-value projects. More responsibility. More travel. A serious raise. 6 months earlier, I would have talked to Emily before accepting. That day, I said yes before leaving his office. When I got home, I almost texted her. Old habits are dangerous. Your brain reaches for the person who used to hear your good news, even when that person became the reason you stopped sleeping. I stared at my phone. Then I called Mark instead. He picked up on the second ring. What? I got promoted. Silence. Then he said, finally. That was Mark. Simple. Perfect. We went out that night. Not to some loud club. Just a steakhouse with dark wood tables and overpriced drinks. He raised his glass. To not being someone's backup plan. I clinked mine against his. To that. For the first time in months, I felt like I might survive. Then, 3 weeks later, Emily came back. Not physically. Not yet. It started with an email. Subject line, I hope you are okay. I almost deleted it. But curiosity is a stubborn thing. I opened it. Jake, I know you probably hate me. I understand why. I just wanted to say I hope you are doing okay. I have thought about you a lot. More than you probably believe. I know everything became ugly, but I never wanted to hurt you. I was confused, and I handled things badly. I hope someday we can talk. Emily. I read it twice. Then a third time. There was no apology. Not really. She said she handled things badly. That is what people say when they do not want to name what they did. She did not say, I betrayed you. She did not say, I treated you like a backup plan. She did not say, I was selfish. She said she was confused. I closed the email. No response. The next one came 4 days later. I heard about your promotion. Congratulations. You deserve it. No response. Then, another. I drove by the apartment yesterday. The curtains are different. That one made my skin crawl. I blocked her email. Then came the call from her mother. I almost did not answer, but some part of me wanted to know how they would spin it now. Hello, Linda. She sounded tired. Jake, I hope I am not bothering you. You are. A pause. I suppose I deserve that. I said nothing. She sighed. Emily is not doing well. I looked out the window of my office. That is not my responsibility anymore. I know. I know that. But she misses you. I almost laughed. She moved in with Ryan. That was a mistake. Yes. She knows that now. Of course she did. Because fantasy has a short shelf life once bills, habits, and reality get involved. Linda continued. Ryan is not who she remembered. No one ever is. He has been difficult. I waited. He does not have steady work. He has been borrowing money from her. They fight constantly. I felt nothing. That surprised me. A few months earlier, hearing that would have given me satisfaction. Now it just sounded predictable. Linda, why are you telling me this? Because I think she made a terrible mistake. She did. And maybe if you two just talked. No. Jake. No. People make mistakes. Linda, forgetting to buy milk is a mistake. Accidentally missing an exit is a mistake. Asking your fiancé to wait while you date your ex is a choice. She was quiet. Then she said, she still loves you. I looked down at my desk. At the contract drawing spread in front of me. At the calendar full of meetings. At the life I was rebuilding one hard day at a time. No. I said. She loves the security I gave her. That is not fair. Neither was what she did. Her voice broke a little. We all thought you would forgive her. That sentence told me everything. Not hoped, not wondered, thought. They all assumed I would absorb the damage. Because I always had. I was the stable one. The patient one. The understanding one. The man who fixed things. The man who stayed. But that version of me had died at the kitchen table. I am not available for this conversation anymore. Jake, please do not punish her forever. I am not punishing her. I am letting her live with her decision. Then, I hung up. That night, I slept better than I had in months. Because something had finally become clear. Emily did not want me back because she suddenly understood my worth. She wanted me back because Ryan had failed the audition, and I had no intention of becoming the consolation prize. A week later, I found out how bad things had gotten. Not from Emily. Not from her family. From Ryan himself. He showed up at my office. I was walking out of a client meeting when I saw him standing near reception. He looked exactly like I remembered from old photos. Tall. careless smile. Expensive sunglasses pushed onto his head despite being indoors. The kind of man who performed confidence because he had nothing underneath it. When he saw me, he grinned. Jake. I stopped. Ryan. He looked me up and down. Man, you look good. Promotion treating you well? I did not answer. Reception went quiet. A few coworkers glanced over. I kept my voice even. What do you want? He chuckled. Straight to it. I respect that. No, you do not. His grin faded slightly. I just thought we should talk. We have nothing to talk about. He stepped closer. Look, man. Emily has been emotional. She feels guilty. I get it. But you need to stop messing with her head. I stared at him. Excuse me? You blocking her, ignoring her family, making her feel like some terrible person. It is not helping. I almost could not believe it. End quote. This man had helped blow up my engagement, moved in with my fiancée, spent months playing house with her, and now he was standing in my office lobby asking me to make her feel better. Ryan, I am going to say this once. Leave. He raised his hands. Relax. No. Leave. His face hardened. You think you are better than me? I smiled faintly. No. I do not think about you at all. That hit him. I saw it land. His jaw tightened. You know, she only stayed with you because you were safe. There it was. The last weapon of an insecure man. I took one step closer. And yet, here you are. Asking the safe man to clean up your mess. For once, he had no comeback. Security appeared near reception. My boss must have seen the exchange from the hallway. Daniel walked up beside me. Problem? Ryan looked at him, then back at me. No problem. Daniel did not blink. Good. Then get out of my building. Ryan left. But not before turning back and saying, she will never really be over me. I looked at him and said, then keep her. His expression cracked. Just for a second. Then he walked out. Daniel watched him go. Then turned to me. That the ex? Yeah? He nodded slowly. Looks like a man who leases cars he cannot afford. I laughed, despite myself. Daniel clapped my shoulder. Back to work. And that was exactly what I did. By the end of that year, my life looked nothing like the one Emily had walked out of. I moved into a better apartment downtown, glass walls, city view, a kitchen I actually used. I started running again. I stopped drinking on weeknights. I went to therapy. Even though I resisted at first. Therapy taught me something I did not want to admit. Emily's betrayal hurt. Yes. But what nearly destroyed me was the version of myself that had allowed her to believe I would wait. That version had been too agreeable. Too afraid of conflict. Too willing to earn love by being useful. I had confused patience with self-abandonment. Never again. By December, I was stronger. Not healed completely. Healing is not a straight line. Some nights still hurt. Certain songs still punched holes in me. A woman wearing Emily's perfume in an elevator could ruin my morning. But I no longer wanted her back. That was the difference. Pain remained. Desire disappeared. Then, 2 weeks before Christmas, she appeared in my building lobby. I had just returned from a site visit. It was raining outside. Cold rain. The kind that turns the city lights blurry. I stepped through the front doors, shaking water from my coat, and saw her standing near the elevators. Emily. For a second, my body reacted before my mind did. My chest tightened. My hand froze around my briefcase. She looked different. Thinner. Paler. Her hair was shorter. She wore a dark green coat I did not recognize. When she saw me, her eyes filled instantly. Jake. I did not move. How did you get in? The front desk called up. I said I was an old friend. I looked toward the concierge. He suddenly became very interested in his computer. I made a mental note to talk to management. Emily took a step toward me. You changed your number. Yes. And your email. Yes. And your apartment. Also yes. Her lips trembled. I did not know how else to reach you. That was the point. She flinched. The elevator doors opened behind me. I did not get in. Not yet. Because despite everything, I wanted to see what she had come to say. Not because it would change anything. But because sometimes the final ghost needs a face. She clasped her hands together. Can we talk upstairs? No. Please. Just 10 minutes. No. People moved around us through the lobby. A man with grocery bags. A woman walking a golden retriever. A delivery driver carrying Thai food. Life continued around the wreckage. Emily wiped under one eye. I made a mistake. There it was, finally, after months of confusion, clarity, bad timing, emotional messages, her first honest sentence. I said nothing. She continued. Ryan was not who I thought he was. I know. She looked surprised. You know? Your mother called. Her face twisted with embarrassment. Of course she did. I waited. Emily swallowed. He lied to me. About his job. About his apartment. About everything. He said he had changed, but he had not. He just wanted to prove he could get me back. I felt a strange calm settle over me. And you let him. She nodded, crying harder. I know. Okay. Okay? What do you want me to say? I want you to know I am sorry. Now? Her eyes squeezed shut. I deserve that. No, Emily. You deserve a lot more than that. But I do not have the energy to give it to you. She stepped closer. I thought about you every day. Please do not. It is true. No. What you thought about was what I gave you. Stability. Loyalty. A home. A future that did not require guessing what kind of man you would wake up next to. She sobbed once. That is not all it was. Maybe not. But it was enough for you to leave. She looked up at me with red eyes. I was stupid. Yes. I was selfish. Yes. I was scared that if I married you, I would always wonder what if. I nodded. And now you know. She cried silently. I continued. You chose the what if, over the man standing in front of you. I know. And when the what if failed, you came back. She looked down. Yes. There was no defense left in her. No twisting. No excuses. Just the truth. And somehow, that made it sadder. Because if she had said all of that months earlier, maybe I would have broken. But standing there in that lobby, looking at the woman I once planned to marry, I realized something. I did not hate her anymore. I did not love her either. She had become a person from a life I no longer lived. Emily wiped her face. Is there any chance? I did not ask what she meant. We both knew. No. The word was quiet. But final. She nodded like she had expected it. Still, when it landed, it broke her. She covered her mouth. I do not know what to do. That is not mine to solve anymore. I lost everything. I looked at her. And there it was. The sentence that almost made the whole year make sense. She had lost everything. But she had not lost it because I took revenge. I did not ruin her relationship with Ryan. I did not turn her family against her. I did not sabotage her life. I simply removed myself from the place she expected me to occupy. I made sure she had nothing to come back to, not by destroying her, but by refusing to remain available. Emily, I said, you did not lose everything. She looked at me, confused. You lost access to me. That hit her harder than anger would have. Her shoulders shook. I pressed the elevator button. The doors opened. Before I stepped inside, she whispered, did you ever really love me? That question was cruel. Maybe not intentionally, but cruel all the same. I turned back. I loved you enough to marry you. Her face crumpled. But I finally loved myself enough not to. Then I stepped into the elevator. The doors began to close. Through the narrowing gap, I saw her standing in the lobby, soaked in regret, holding nothing, waiting for a door that would not open again. And for the first time since the morning she asked for a break, I did not feel like the man who had been left. I felt like the man who had survived.